Welcome, everybody back to Zesty's Best Bets. It is time for NFL Week 3. Big Steve,
Hi, everybody.
Cody,
Zest.
Fresh off a haircut. My girls at Sports Clips, they took care of me. They uh, were very friendly. Keep me coming back more than I typically do. Um, that's why we're looking a little thinner here. I haven't lost weight, so hopefully we made some money last week.
I believe we did come out on top. We will throw that total up on the Substack, but we are looking solid and trying to add to that bankroll. Moving in to Week 3 NFL, Week 4 college football. But first, back again in what will become a weekly segment for us. First, some point shaving.
Absolutely. More
Yeah.
point shaving. Same culprits.
Twofold here. I think I said the same thing last week. One game I was on, one game I was just trying to enjoy, but I could not understand the coaching decision. First one would be the Giants. So they are the first team ever to score 3 touchdowns and not allow a touchdown and lose the game in regulation. Technically, this would be the second time, but that happened in overtime. I don't understand what the Giants are doing. If you knew your kicker was even remotely uh, have an issue, they should have won this game. The total should have went over. This should have been a double win. Ended up being a double loss. I didn't hate that Neighbors was able to eat, but terrible coaching all around. Like a kicker is not that. A kicker is very valuable, but not enough to. If he's injured with a hamstring, how do you not add a roster spot? And I think they went in with 52, so they had a roster spot. I don't quite understand any of the logic. Why not let the punter attempt? Um, there's a whole bunch of logic that just didn't make sense. And then um, the real popular one, Sirianni. God, you have the face that everybody in the world just wants to punch. Every time they show you on TV, you just look stupid or hateful. Nobody really cares to back you unless you're an Eagle fan, but even then, they don't really back you. You want to pride yourself on running the ball. You want to do the tush push. You're ruining the league. You have Hurts. Again, players need to make plays. Saquon should have caught the ball. But how do you even make that play call? How do you allow that play to happen? Because the same situation could have happened on fourth down. You could have ran the same shit. The same outcome would have happened, and you would have ran 40 seconds off the play clock. You called or you didn't call a timeout. You declined the penalty because they jumped off sides to save the 40 seconds. And you thought you were smart as shit. And then you come and do this dumbass shit, and it cost you a game. So, uh, weep what you sow, Sirianni.
It might be point shaving. What do you think, public?
It's certainly not point shaving. I'll fucking say that when you look that stupid. But could be point shaving on Saquon's half as well, because that was a very attainable catch, and he just looked like he thought Kirk Cousins didn't have it in him. or something. We'll never know.
Not to put shade on Saquon, but he owned up to it, Sirianni, because I was very curious. He blamed everybody, and then he's like, "Yeah, and us, coaches." So at least Saquon owned up to it. Sirianni was very quick to point blame to everybody else. So
if they continue to have injuries with AJ Brown and others, and they're not able to be highly successful this year, Sirianni's fucking gone midway through the year for sure.
oh, it's a very, very profitable bet to do that. But yes, I agree. If they stumble, he is not a good coach, and
He's not a good coach, and he just seems like a dildo.
yeah, everything about him I just cannot stand. I mean, he's got a winning record, so I mean, maybe he's a good coach, but he's got a great roster. I think anybody could do the same shit. God, I think, not to get off track real quick, I think they've lost 7 of 10 or 7 of 11 or some shit. Like, he's a losing coach the last essentially a season. He's a losing coach so far.
Yeah.
But his
ever
career,
since they cracked that 10-1 run, since then he's been garbage.
Yeah, and he just seems to me like the players agree with us. He just seems like a douche. I mean, doesn't seem like he's ever had that locker room. So that's a huge problem.
and to end the segment, we can't do this. I mean, we might have to call this the Will Levis segment, but what the fuck are you doing?
We'll get to him later for some odd reason.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But speaking of a coach who does have his locker room, we'll go down to Las Vegas. And who will rule the Sea of Las Vegas this year? Are the Panthers going to be able to board that vessel and grab that steering wheel? What do you think, Zest?
This is about as ugly as it gets. So Carolina, I know they're 0-2, and they've looked absolutely dog shit. They have gotten rid of their prized possession, more than likely due to Tepper making a phone call saying, "Hey, yeah, F him." But this offensive line is actually, I believe, top 5, top 10, something of that nature of success rate. So it's not the offensive line. They're building around them. Now we get a veteran quarterback in here. The Raiders are coming off a high-profile win, I guess. They are the biggest dog to win a game outright, which would be the Raven. We'll get to that later, but I just think this is a good opportunity to buy low on, or I guess buy high on the Raiders being overhyped, even though the number is continuing to drop. Andy Dalton, I think, is turning 37. He's 36, turning 37. But anytime he's been under center, they are very successful up to 27 points. The receivers are open. There are plays to be made in Carolina. Now, the Raiders, Antonio Pierce came out and said he's going to run the ball 55 times. That is a problem. Carolina, they're decimated on the defensive tackle. Still, this is the NFL. That's not going to fly. Both of these offenses are shoddy at best. It's just too many points, high number, gross. Give me Carolina. In fact, I love this pick so much. I think they win outright. And then everything's going to get fucking crazy. Pardon my language there. But nobody wants to bet Carolina. This number is incredibly inflated. And I don't trust Minshew, even though he's, I think, number one in completion percentage. The Raiders are a rah-rah team, which is good to an extent. Panthers are dumpster fire, but I'm just saying there's nothing schematically that the Raiders do that create a deficit of this magnitude.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think Antonio Pierce would say, fuck you, and fuck me too. What say you, anonymous betting public?
Yeah, I tend to fall in the same camp as Antonio Pierce here. I just have very little reason to trust anything that they're doing down in Carolina, particularly with the Red Rifle, who I think everybody thought at the start of the year was there not to be ready to play week 3, but to be ready to be a second coach out there for Bryce Young and old Dave Canales. But hedge fund managers, man, when shit hits the fan, they're ready to fucking pivot. So Tepper's ready to pivot, and we'll see what the Panthers can do. I think I am more inclined in this game to pound the under at 39.5 because the Raiders are going to try and pound the ball, and I think they'll have some success with that. I hear what you're saying about Andy Dalton being the better executor on offense and that there are plays to be made for the Panthers. I gotta say, I have not watched a ton of Panthers film, so we'll see if you're right about that. And we'll also see if Andy Dalton can make any of those plays while Max, our brother Crosby, is breathing down his neck, calling him a little ass boy. So I'm not so sure about the total here, or I'm not so sure about the line here, even at +6 where I saw that TMZ SBN bet earlier. But we'll see.
As someone who enjoys watching the Raiders and has seen the Raiders play this year and years past, it's just even the new rah-rah Antonio Pierce Raiders, they do this from time to time where you would think they come in to Vegas, home game against a shit squad, so let's rub it in. Let's get some style points for the squad, Rah-rah team. Why wouldn't we do that? But more often than not, they end up shitting the bed in this situation and making it look real ugly. I can see them coming away with a win still. Again, rah-rah. They'll get that win, but probably not by 5 if they even get it. I can see them winning outright too. Zesty's got me believing.
Yeah, to end with that, so I guess I should have wrote this down. But the average snap to completion percentage, Carolina has a very wide margin. Bryce Young just wasn't making the passes. You saw Devontae Johnson. Well, about 6 people saw it. The 6 people that watched the Panthers. There were several times that they were open and they just weren't making the play. He was indecisive. It got to the point that they had to go directly under center because he could not see whatever. I don't believe that. But the offensive line is giving them protection. It's the NFL. I mean, 3 seconds is all day long. Like you've got to understand who it is. This is more of a play. I think Andy Dalton is going to come in and at least be efficient. They're going to be able to run the ball ish or be able to have the threat of running the ball, and it's just going to, because I do think highly of the Raiders pass rush and what they did back to back off, playing the Ravens is a little difficult in the last uh, historical data. After you play the Ravens, you're a little beat up. And I don't know about this Ravens team. I don't know how much they're beating you up, but I think this is a spot that everybody's. Are you as bad as you look? As bad as you play? Like, it's the NFL. So that's my ending on this. I did say I love it, but I am going to puke betting it. But it's the play. I mean, it might not cover, but there's no way you can bet the Raiders consistently and make money on this model.
Yes. Well, let's move on to another failure of a number one pick. Oh, did I say that out loud? No. Caleb Williams, red horse. Boomer bust to be determined, but what's going to be determined this weekend is Colts -1.5. Zesty, tell me why you're taking the Colts.
A lot of it is based on Caleb Williams. I think he's 0 for 14 on passes over 15 yards, and they are all terrible throws according to metrics. None of them were catchable passes or even remotely catchable passes. He's holding the ball too much. I believe he's been sacked 9 times, which is league high. At least because I've watched too much Bear film or too many Bear games because I've bet them. I've watched too much Bears. He's not ready yet. He looks to the chat, I guess, or other followers. He looks like he's playing a super hype Utah team every week, and that's disrespectful to the NFL because it's even higher than that. He looks absolutely clueless in every aspect of what he's doing. I don't know if it's a scheme thing quite yet, but Anthony or Richardson, the Colts have a lot of explosive plays. They haven't looked great either, but last week when we picked them against Green Bay, egg on our face, looked good until the second half. Buckner went out with a injury. They were able to run the ball. Willis was not a factor for the most part in the game, but the Colts are still a very good team. The Bears do not move the line of scrimmage at all. So even if it was a run advantage, they cannot do that. And again, I don't know if it's a scheme thing. They have all these fancy weapons, fancy quarterbacks. They're a soft team. And yeah, give me the Colts at home.
Bears defense is soft too. Betting public, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is you have two young quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson obviously didn't play a ton last year after he got injured, and they put him out to hold out and just recover for the remainder of the year. And what we saw last week was he is also very prone to making mistakes. So while he will have some passes that you will just be ungodly wowed by at times during the game, he may also forget what color jersey he's wearing that day. So anybody who watched him play at Florida like I did knows that if there's a big barn in front of him, sometimes he's going to hit it, sometimes he's not. So we'll see if Anthony Richardson can show up and play this week. I do think that the Colts defense at home, they're 0-2 right now. The Colts actually had some expectations going into the year, so I expect them to come back here, recover a little bit after being really rather embarrassed against the Packers up there in Wisconsin and getting really blown out by Malik Willis. So I expect Shane Steichen to curb some of the issues that they had with Anthony Richardson, put him back in some situations to be successful. And to me, this is a good pick. Colts are going to recover. And I don't see Caleb Williams having a miraculous turnaround at this point, just because he appears to have not just one, but quite a few problems in terms of making the quick read, as well as finding weapons in multiple levels rather than just trying to go deep. And like you said, I don't know if it's scheme or what, but right now he just does not look like the football player that you saw at USC. And if that's because he's trying to do the same wizard shit that he tried to draw up at USC and that shit's just not going to work in the NFL, then maybe it's going to be a longer adjustment period than people thought. And maybe he'll pick it up later in the second half of the season, but it won't be this week.
Yeah, I'm not trying to watch this game. I'm not trying to watch the Colts and Bears probably likely the rest of the year. But if you tell me to bet on them, Zess, may bet on them. May throw them in another parlay that the Colts fuck me on. How about that?
Yeah, they
full disclosure, audience, didn't get to the book to make that parlay, but if you were following along, we all know the Colts burned us after ASU and UNLV covered. We were hanging on for that third leg as always, and it didn't hit. But betting on the Colts again. Can't say I'm completely mad at it, but just two ugly teams. Zesty warned us this was going to be ugly betting week, but we all know winners win. It's all that matters. And we're going to move on to another ugly game. Minnesota. Is Sam Darnold for real? Minnesota and Houston. Two 2-0 teams.
Yeah, so Flores is the Shanahan kryptonite. Whatever it is, he just knows how to attack them. Was the Shanahan tree? They run the ball, a lot of it's zone scheme, a lot of motion, yada, yada, yada. Well, the Texans are down both their running backs. So it's going to, it is the NFL. They're going to make adjustments. It's going to get a little weird. But to that, I think Minnesota is being disrespected. There is a model that after you play the Niners, you do struggle, but They are a home dog against a Shanahan tree. This is more of a flash and grab. Uh, CJ Stroud, he's the greatest thing in the fucking world. They struggled against the Colts. It was a divisional opponent. I get it. And then they played the Bears. The Bears defense was, you know, comparable, but the offense put them in a poor position. Minnesota's offense is not going to, in theory, put their defense in that kind of position. I think this is a game that plays out to where they're able to run the ball, they're able to execute on third down. I don't think it's going to be super flashy. The 2 points tells me Minnesota's going to win outright, and they're hoping to get a lot of Tennessee love, or not Tennessee, Houston, the Texans, excuse me, because of Stroud and what he's done. But again, he's what 18 games into his career, and we're ready to anoint him as the greatest thing in the fucking world. Flores has something for him. Minnesota's back end is very good. The fact that Houston will not be able, in theory, I mean, I do. Cam Akers has had good success, but it's the Shanahan tree with Slowick. What he's done against the Rams and the Niners, Flores is just. I think he's undefeated, to be honest with you. But
Well, another game I'm probably not going to be trying to watch. Texans and Vikings. I think, like you mentioned, Stroud has not looked good yet. You know, we'll see if he looks good this week. I'm not going to try and bet on the Vikings to make him look bad. Anonymous betting public, will you?
This is a tough one for me. I just don't know how, after watching the last 7 or 8 years of NFL football, that I can place faith in Sam Darnold. Now, the reason for this, though, as you outlined, is not because you necessarily have faith in Sam Darnold. It's because you more so have faith in Brian Flores. And I think Flores does have good scheme. He obviously was able to fuck up the 49ers. Brock Purdy coming off the field even admitted as much. He was like, dude, your shit's fucking crazy. And I think that is how Minnesota ends up pulling this one off, is if they're able to do the same things with Stroud. It's definitely going to hurt that they don't have as solid of a running game as they would if they were healthy. But to me, this is going to come down to how well Stroud executes versus Minnesota's defense. And when Minnesota has the ball, can they run the ball and keep it out of Stroud's hands? Because I think the more Stroud sees Flores' scheme, the more chances he'll have for success. And I think they do have viable weapons. But again, you're playing with fire with Sam Darnold here, my friend. Let's just hope he rides the bull just like he is in that picture there.
no, I agree 100%. It is going to be ball control. I'm very high on Houston as far as their defense. I think there is just that concept that he is so good against. And it's, you could go the other way as an argument that Slowick, oh, okay, now I've got 6 games of film of what he's done against us. Here's my rebuttal. But you don't think Shanahan and all of his offense didn't know that? So it goes both ways. But I know Minnesota gets a little rowdy there. I mean, Kurt's not coming out with the chain, but they're going to get a little fucking crazy down there. And we'll see. I agree. It's very possible Darnold could see ghosts, and he had 2 good games. So let's not forget he might see ghosts, but
Here's to many, many cow horns of mead for the Vikings down yonder.
Fucking Darnold seeing ghosts. I love it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just to me, the Texans haven't looked good yet. I could see this being a week where they figure some shit out, but I could also see it being the week where it looks worse than ever because, like you said, Flores. They're at home. Let's get rowdy, Minnesota. Prove that it's right, Minnesota. We'll move away from Minnesota. We're going to Tennessee. Our boy Will Levis, the ultimate point shaving fuck.
uh, 3 weeks in a row. Let's play with Tennessee. So at worst, Tennessee should be 1-1. Clearly they should have beat. They just should outlaw the punt completely. They've had 2 block punts, which affected both of their outcomes as far as the cover. We'll just get rid of the Bears. We've got rid of that. Last week they did the same shit. Will Levis, he was down, but he wasn't down, and he tried to pitch shit. And then we got the "what the fuck are you doing" meme. Tennessee has actually played really well defensively. If Will Levis just stops, if he takes a sack and then they don't get punts, they're 2-0 ish potentially. The Jets might have been something a little different, but a lot of the love, obviously you've seen it get steamed up. This is anything over 3 is not a play, but the idea of Jordan Love playing is just ridiculous. It's not going to happen. Sure, he went to practice, but Tennessee plays really good defense. This is just Green Bay. I'm doubling down from last week with the Colts. Tennessee stops the run. And Will Levis, if you're the quarterback, you're in good position. Like, it's just a Will Levis play, or excuse me, Willis play here. Just Will Levis stop fucking us, and we're okay. We had a rookie quarterback. We had a good number last week, and then this week we have Malik Willis, revenge game, and he's dog shit. Even though he beat the Colts, but he didn't really beat the Colts. They were able to run the ball in the second half, and they were, dinking and dunking. They weren't really doing anything specific to Will Levis, or excuse me, Willis. Come on, Will Levis. Fucking stop fucking me.
Do something right. Fuck. Anonymous. Dare you bet on Will Levis and the Titans? Fucking Jordan Love or not.
So I think that Green Bay winning last week bought them some time. I think otherwise they would have tried to rush Love back this week and get him out there. I think they will end up going with Willis. But again, like you said, last week had nothing to do with Malik Willis. It had everything to do with Anthony Richardson throwing him the fucking ball 3 times. So to me, Titans, they're at home. They're very familiar with Malik Willis. In fact, they themselves decided that he was shittier than Will Levis. So I think that this is a good spot. Buy high on the or buy low on the Titans. Seems to be getting ridden up a little bit. It is at -3 on TMZ SPN. So shop around and get a good line where you can. If you can get it under 3, that's obviously beneficial. But I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable taking the Packers here. So we'll ride with old Levis.
I know who you will be comfortable taking though. Zesty's next bet. Them boys at +1. We're going to Dallas. How about it, Zest? Would you have been a Cowboy fan?
I'm a fan of money. 2 things. One, the Ravens just get so much love that it almost collides with the Cowboy love. Well, the Cowboys just got the shit pushed in, and they're the first team, again, it was playoffs, to give up 40-plus points at home. And we all think, Jerry World's a home field advantage. We know last year, we want to talk about it, that they looked elite when the defense was just running around. They're fucking scoring touchdowns. They're doing all sorts of shit against Daniel Jones and some other lesser opponents. We get to the this is a buy on the Cowboys are not that bad. This is a bad number. It should be honestly the Cowboys -2.5, give or take. This is a bad number from Vegas. Good number to bet. The Cowboys aren't that bad, and you would think it's a rally the troops game. Let's get our shit together. Even though the Ravens are 0-2, the Ravens have their own issues, but ultimately they should be comparable. Even though Lamar has a impeccable record against the NFC, it blows me away that this is one of the few times you can actually get value on the Cowboys because of how shitty they performed last week. Wait, that's about it. I mean, I can go into the Ravens.
It's
Lamar Jackson. I don't know if you guys know this. What would you think his quarterback ranking is? I don't know if you guys looked at it.
quarterback rating number, like his quarterback ranking.
Yeah,
Like
passer ranking.
passer rating. I mean, not high.
32, I believe, which would be
Good Lord.
worst
Yeah,
in the league.
that's bad.
Don't quote me on that. I know it's on this end of, enough to know that it's not very fucking good. So
Yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of them Ravens, but I just don't know. Don't know that the Cowboys are going to be able to do anything at all to rally the troops necessarily.
I'm a huge fan of a team that just gets their shit pushed in and they're at home. They're coming. Now, I think McCarthy's dog shit. I think Dak is overpaid. I think there's a whole lot of flair. But I think they're the play this week.
Just because the Saints just embarrassed their ass. Tell us about it, Anonymous.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Dallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted, much like Dallas, to the Super Bowl, never more. Dallas is gonna fucking choke. Book it.
yeah, that sounds about right.
I think that's a reverse psych. I didn't know we were getting into.
Oh,
We'll leave it at that. I was going to say Shakespeare, but I know that's wrong. But I know what you were citing. I just don't want to.
beautiful. Well, that was beautiful. Your lack of faith in the Cowboys is beautiful. I do, however, think if they're, much as I don't see them rallying any troops, CeeDee Lamb's going to start scoring touchdowns eventually. And the Ravens, like Zesty mentioned, have their own problems. So we'll see how many points they put up in Dallas. I definitely put my money on the boys over the Ravens this week, +1 at home. I'll ride with you on that one too, Zest. We move on.
Lamar's pass rating doesn't mean shit when he can run for 300 yards on 3 scores.
Fair enough, too. I mean,
Yeah.
But
there's something to that.
But
Yeah.
we'll go on.
Yeah. Do it. He wants to be the passer.
Yeah. Well, we're moving on to the Niners Rams under, which currently sits at 43. Any number seems high for these two teams right now. Have no momentum going into this week, but we in danger of seeing something be figured out.
Yeah, so a lot of this is based on one, the Rams are pretty decimated. It's a divisional game, and Debo is questionable. Questionable or out? I don't know. I haven't checked.
He's out.
He's out.
Yeah.
So
Kittle's also doubtful.
Yeah.
yeah, so this line is likely to plummet quite a bit. Although it hasn't. I looked at it today. So without Debo, Purdy's 0-3, averaging 17 points a game. I don't see the Rams covering the difference for this total. I don't see the Rams doing a whole hell of a lot. I do, like I said, divisional games typically go under. Well, not typically, but they lean-ish to be a hard-fought game or whatever to make it ugly. Debo is the key factor, even though McCaffrey is the bell cow. But offensively, they can replace the running back if they have Debo. Now, you lose both of them. I mean, it's kind of fucked. But that's the idea of the play here.
Any more fucked than the Rams special situation they got with all their hurt players? Like you said, they're decimated as well.
Yeah, and that's the second part of it is what are they going to do? I think both of these teams essentially,
Meet in the middle of dog shit. Neither one of them
yeah,
touches each other. I
a
see exactly what you're saying.
3-point quarter. They're playing possession. They're punting because that's a victory. That's why I love the NFL more than the fucking college kids, because a punt is a victory. But my brain is wired that way, I guess.
Yeah, I like this pick. I just don't see where you're getting 44 points out of these two teams right now. The only real counterpoint that I could provide for San Francisco would be that I think with Debo out last year and the year prior, a lot of that time was also with Trent Williams out, which is not the case right now. However, I think this total is really staying up in the mid to low 40s because everyone has such high respect for Sean McVay and Shanahan as offensive play callers. But beyond that, there's really no reason to believe that they're going to put up both into the 20s right now because they just don't have the playmakers on either side. So I think this is going to be a lot of run game, a lot of run the clock, and very low scoring. 17-13 is not out of the realm here.
Yeah. Too many hurt guys. Rams do need a get right game though. I expect the Rams to win that game. We're on to the under for the Dolphins versus the Seahawks. And you like the Dolphins plus 4.5, correct?
Yeah, I don't want to call it the dead dog game, but this is the dead dog game. Tell me something positive of Miami. They got to travel to Seattle, 5,000 miles ish, something like that. I don't know what it is, but backup quarterback. Seattle looks good. The numbers plummeting. Like, this is the worst number, but it's better than a field goal. They're going to show up there. They're still going to run the ball very well. It might get weird. Like, Skylar Thompson covered a playoff game. He's a Hall of Famer for us bettors. He's been in the system. He's well below average of whatever, but Pittsburgh, they don't even have a quarterback. Not this year. And they go 500. So you're telling me that's 500 money line. So now you're telling me we get points here. Seattle's defenses look really well. Spotty opponents, but I think this is a dead dog game. They cover. They rally around him and say, "Hey, we are Miami. We're not Tua Dolphins."
I like that angle. I like that angle. Will they rally around the dead dog, Anonymous? Do you believe in the dead dog?
Yeah, look, I don't want to speak ill of anyone here. So I will just focus on the far more important factor, which is that I picked up Geno Smith on waivers this week, so Seattle will not do shit. Guaranteed.
I mean, I don't want to call it a lock, but that is a great factor. No, that's too much insider information there with the fantasy. And to be honest, I just think that flight, that 5,000 miles, it's a killer. It just doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who the athlete is. His body gets punished by that and that alone. Even with first class flight, even going in a day, 3 days early, that sucks.
Yeah, that kind of goes against the. Anyway, last week the longest flight was Seattle to Boston, but Miami to Seattle is now the longest. So I agree, and the public there might have got Geno before I got Geno, but I kind of let him get Geno because I knew he was struggling a little bit.
And on to your vaunted quarterback, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
You guys have such good quarterbacks. Mine's great too, Matt Stafford.
There is so many things I hate about the Giants. But Cleveland is just so under the radar of equal shit. They should be 0-2. Like by far. Like they have been just absolute dog shit. The fact that they're a 6.5 point favorite with what they've produced. I mean, obviously that's the bet. They're absolute dog shit. Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Watson, forget him as a quarterback at all. Like, he is just so garbage. They cannot run the ball. They're without their tackles. The strength of the Giants, even though they look absolutely disgusting against the Commanders, is their front four. But they still got pressure. It was just they couldn't stop it with the back half. Cleveland cannot pass the ball because Watson needs a massage. I hate to put it out there, but they are so terrible. It's crazy that this is the line. Their defense is higher tier. I wouldn't say elite. Like they can't shut a team down, but or at least early. But their offense is so terrible that this number is what we're playing, and it's another one of the puke plays because Cleveland is equally as shitty as the Giants are. It's just you all think the Giants are good, or you all think Cleveland is great with Deshaun Watson.
I don't know anyone who thinks Cleveland's great, but I know a lot of people who think the Giants are absolute trash. That seems more likely.
Yeah, I think that's more where the line movement is going, is that people are just extremely down on the Giants. No matter what happens here, you can't take the fucking Browns at plus 6.5. I mean, the play has to be the Giants at plus 6.5, or the Browns at minus 6.5, rather. Sorry, and you're gonna place the bet immediately. You're gonna get a nice big knot in your shoulder. You're gonna try and massage it out all game, and you're gonna hope for a happy ending. So we'll see what happens here. Dana Jones, do something.
Like they say, Brown's gonna Brown. Moving on. Cardinals, Lions. Arizona's +3. Total's 51.5. You got the Cards. They're at home?
They are.
They're at home.
I went from thinking they were going to be a train wreck to I'm very impressed. Murray had his ball shrined for being the first quarterback ever, I guess, with a perfect passer rating. I don't know what the fuck the passer rating means, but he dominated the Rams. The Lions honestly have a very good ATS record against the spread. And the fact that, it's the rally game, kind of Campbell's going to be like, oh, I fucked up. And they're going to rally around him. Arizona's legit. They are not a bad team at all. It was the same thing a little bit last week with the Buccaneers. Everybody wants to think the Lions are this fucking big. Maybe they're like this big. And the number doesn't make sense at home with a comparable quarterback that's playing really well. The only problem with this bet, as it stands right now, is there's quite a bit of vig. They don't want to jump off the number. But hell, anything under 3, or excuse me, +3, jump all over it. But I would not be shocked if Arizona wins outright. I expect them to win outright. The problem, we're talking betting here, or 3 is a bad number at the VIG as we're talking right now. But money line, because I think they win outright, is profitable.
Right. So you just got to look at that.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals here. Jared Goff quietly is throwing 3 picks, only 1 touchdown on the year. They just don't seem to be doing enough. Maybe he's reverting a little bit from last year when he was pretty successful, going back to those fading Rams days when Sean McVay got him the fuck out of there. The thing that intrigues me about this game is I think the Lions are going to have to go back to trying to run the ball a lot more. Last week, Gibbs only had 13 carries, and Goff threw the ball fucking 55 times in a game that was 20-16. So it makes no fucking sense from a game plan standpoint, even though Tampa Bay's secondary was a little bit hurt. Clearly just wasn't the way to attack the Buccaneers. Certainly didn't help that Goff threw the 2 picks, but Arizona runs the ball really successfully as well. So 51.5 might be a little bit more difficult for them to reach, despite the fact that the Cardinals hit 41 on their own last week. But I think that was a little bit unique because you did have the Rams losing quite a bit of personnel throughout the game with Kupp and also not having Nakua. So we shall see. But if it was me, I would follow you on the money line and probably hit the under.
I couldn't agree with you more. You literally gave the game script I, in my head, think. The Lions are going to go in there trying to be tough. The Lions, they're an indoor team. They want to be tough. And they're tough indoors, kind of. But they want to be tough outdoors for Super Bowl implications. So yes, I do think the under is a great play. I just don't know if they can do it. It's a great thing to want to do something, but can you do it? They have a great against the spread record after a loss. So this is a minority play here, but I don't think the Lions are who people think they are.
Marvin Harrison Jr. for the win. Let's go. Well, that's it for our NFL chat this week. Got some college picks on the Substack. Got some notes on the Substack. Any more gifts for our listening audience before we say goodbye?
Yeah, so those who subscribed got Illinois at 8.5. It actually got up to 9.5. They won outright. I have removed Michigan from my thought process, but I do think it's quite an embarrassment that they are. This is a game I want to observe and learn from, but they are getting disrespected quite a bit. The numbers came back. I think that's more of a futures buy. You buy a number, buy back. They are still getting disrespected with the number. However, now let's go to Okie State. Okie State was minus 2.5. That was more of a rising thing. Scratch that. He's starting. It is now +1 Okie State. Doesn't matter. Okie State will win outright in cover by 3. Because they will cover. They will win outright by 3 points. Now you get them at a +1, so you can grab them. +1 is not a bet to make. They are just they are 8-0 against ranked opponents at home. The last team to beat them was their in-state rival, Oklahoma, and that was 8 to 10 years ago, and they were far superior opponent. Utah is not Oklahoma 8 to 10 years ago. Those who follow or those who listen or those that we've talked about, this was a game they were gonna fucking lose. We knew it. And now you're getting +1, I guess, which is dog shit. Don't bet them +1. Bet them money line, or don't bet it at all. The +1's not gonna matter. Okie State. Oh man, they're gonna rile some feathers. I can almost guarantee it.
Welcome to the pack. Welcome to the Big 12, Utah.
Yeah, exactly. That's their first Big 12. They're going to lose. There is, I don't want to say zero chance, but they are not going to beat Okie State. So I would say zero chance, I guess.
They thought Baylor at home was the Big 12. Not bloody likely. Wait till fucking Oklahoma State puts up 50 on your ass and you don't know what the fuck's going on. Well, Anonymous, any thoughts before we part ways here?
No, I mean, we'll get the Substack going with some more notes on college football. Kind of hurts me a little bit that Utah's about to choke, but I think old Kevin Ollie is about to give him a show there in Oklahoma. So we shall see the Utes in decline this week, and if not, then we'll be rising above it, hopefully. So I don't know. I may not touch that game, but pun intended. Long live the unpaid labor category. And we'll see you all next week.
Yeah.
Hey.
To that, I do have Substack specific college bets that I will get out if you subscribe or listen. Hopefully we can make some money. How did we do last week, public?
That will be posted on Substack as well. Unfortunately, it's been a long week for me, so got to get that record up on the notes there.
That's right.
How did you do last week, Zesty?
I believe it was a profitable week. But go to Substack.
Word. Everybody, make money. Be merry. See you next week.